Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Richardson within 21030500001. And today I'm going to discuss about a journal, and the title of the journal will be the correlation between students' preference and English achievement in hybrid learning during COVID-19 pandemic. Without wasting time, let us begin the discussion. The correlation between students' preference and English achievement in hybrid learning during COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the study aims to investigate the correlation between student preference and English achievement in hybrid learning during COVID-19 pandemic. The researcher collect the data of this study through questionnaire and achievement tests with the participants of the study were 77 students from three universities in Pekanbaru, Riau. The finding revealed that there was a significant correlation between the student parents on their English achievement in hybrid learning with p-value 0.000 lower than 0.05, and the correlation coefficient was 0.723. Now, this result was categorized as a high or strong correlation, which means the influence percentage of university student preference to student English achievement was 52.2%. The conclusion of the study that there was a strong correlation between student preference in hybrid learning and their English achievement during COVID-19 pandemic. Our table of content that we will discuss is first introduction, method, and the finding and discussion. The first topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction. Now, let us begin the discussion. Now, in March 2020, Circulars Letter Number 4 was issued by the Minister of Education and Culture of Indonesia concerning the application of teaching and learning process that was conducted through fully online learning to prevent the massive contagion of COVID-19. Now, at the time, conducted teaching and learning process totally through online learning was the most applicable method in emergency of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, there are several researchers reported that the teaching and learning activities were carried out efficiently through fully online learning. But there are also the drawback of barrier in concluding online learning amid the pandemic. Now, they are also found several difficulties encountered by the student in adapting to this sudden change in learning English via online amid the pandemic, namely limited access to internet connection, limited access to internet. Sorry, the uh, first is the change and in learning English via online amid the pandemic, namely. The second is limited access to the internet connection. The third is the expensive of cost of internet data. The fourth is the limited of physical interaction, and the last is the distraction at home. In addition, the educational institutions were not entirely prepared for the incidental change. Now, in mid 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic cases has had decreased significantly. The government changed the policy and the regulation on the educational system in Indonesia from fully online learning to limited face-to-face classroom and online learning that known as a hybrid learning, a teaching method that know that and the teaching method, a teaching and learning method activity during a normal era in conducted limitedly offline and online learning mode. In this new normal, we need to follow the health protocol. There are several requirements and conditions needed to start hybrid learning. The first is the university or the college area are included the green area. Number two, obtaining approval from the local government and parent. Number three, providing sanitation and hygiene facilities. Number four, checking the student temperature before entering the campus area. Number five, wearing a mask in the campus area and in classroom. Number six, getting COVID-19 vaccine. Number seven, stressing the resident and disinfecting the campus before reopening the campus. And the last is the student who are sick or have comorbidity are allowed to learn via fully online. Now, this hybrid learning trial is dynamic. Now, it means that when there is found university student that infected with COVID-19, the limited face-to-face learning will stop for 7 until 4 days, and the learning method or learning mode will be conducted fully online learning again. Now, this policy was accepted can solve the difficulty of very experienced by students during full online learning system in the previous years, since hybrid learning considered as an approach that has advantage on both offline and online learning. Now, hybrid learning in the combination of face-to-face learning in the classroom and online learning atmosphere outside the classroom. Hybrid learning has four characteristics, such as number one, the integration of individual and collective learning. Number two, the integration of synchronous and asynchronous learning. Number three, the integration of group-paced and self-paced learning. And the last is the integration of formal and informal learning in terms of lifetime learning. So this method helps the student to obtain information or knowledge for printed material, of course, book, and expand it by involving another source from the internet or website, and enable the integration of media tools into e-learning environment. Now, in short, hybrid learning has several advantages from the student, namely in enhancing their knowledge, developing their autonomous learning, and promoting their collaborative learning and matching with student learning style. Now, hybrid learning is effective in improving student achievement, participation, and motivation. This method was taken into a surrogate way in meeting the student needs who had studied at campus in limited face-to-face learning and also from home via online learning, since the pandemic is still exists in this world. Therefore, this study investigates the correlation between student preference in learning English through hybrid learning and their English achievement. Second topic is method. Let us begin the discussion. Now, the data were obtained through questionnaire and achievement that test using quantitative method. Now, the total population of this study were 310 students that took English 3 course from 3 university and 3 departments that had conducted hybrid learning during new normal policy in Pekanbaru, Riau. Now, the sample of the study were 77 university students that chosen by using random sampling technique. Now, this study used quantitative data. Now, the to investigate the correlation between student preference and their English outcome at the end of the semester. Now, before the researcher distributed the questionnaire to the sample, it was tried out to other students that were not included in this research. Now, this research were interpreted as a high degree category and reliable to use this research in addition to student preference of the use of hybrid learning during COVID-19 pandemic were categorized in several classifications as shown in the following table. Now, how about the achievement? Now, the achievement test was used to investigate the student achievement after learning English course in hybrid learning for one semester. Now, this test was multiple choice that consisted of 50 question and focus in reading comprehension, grammar based on the course objective. Next, to measure the validity of the test, content validity was applied by the researcher. Now, after discussing the question of the test, several inappropriate items were reversed and suggested by the expert. Now, the result was revealed that the reliability of the test was 0.83. Now, this result was acceptable since it was categorized in the high reliability. Now, the achievement test was distributed at the meeting 16 that conducted in the offline classroom. The researcher utilized correlation analyzed and regression analysis to investigate whether there was a correlation or not between university student preference and their English achievement in hybrid learning. Next, the result of the correlation coefficient can be categorized as shown on the table. Now, this study was conducted to investigate the correlation between university student preference and their English achievement in hybrid learning amid the COVID-19 pandemic based on following design as shown on figure. Our last topic is finding and discussion. Let us begin the discussion. The result of the questionnaire of student preference in hybrid learning. Before we are going to continue, you must pause the video and see the table. Read the table first to know the context that we are going to talk about. Now, the table presents that majority of the participants prefer learning English through hybrid learning rather than learning English through fully online learning. The second, most of students agree that they get better understanding of the content hybrid learning than in fully online learning. Next, the student prefer to use several strategies and application in hybrid learning. Thus, the English activities are not monotonous. Next, the majority of them also prefer learning activities in hybrid learning since it is fun, enjoyable, and interesting. As shown item number 5, 6, 9, and 15 that more than 65% of the participants are satisfied and convenient with the environment of learning English through hybrid learning since they can communicate, interact, and collaborate with peer or lecturer directly in offline and online learning. Then most of them also like the content and the task given by the lecturer in hybrid learning since it is more appropriate and meet their learning needs. So, more than 60% of the participants prefer to learn English through hybrid learning since it provides them with more benefits, namely becoming adaptable to technology, improving digital literacy, and learning English autonomously. Now, learning hybrid learning can enhance student digital literacy while they are searching or browsing information, analyzing facts, developing web content, interacting in chat room, and communicating social media. The finding also showed that students were more motivated to learn English in hybrid learning, and they say that it has great contribution in improve their English skills. The majority of them believe they can learn English effectively through hybrid learning during the pandemic. Second is the result of student English achievement test. Now, in this research, the researcher also obtained the data from the student achievement test after they learned English through hybrid learning for one semester. Now, the achievement test was carried out at meeting 16 that conducted through offline class. Here is the mean score of the present percentage was calculated to measure the student English achievement of the test. On the table above present, there are five student achievement. The biggest score of the test and is 90 and get a A predicate. Now the majority of students get B plus and B minus predicate. Next, there are three students gain the lowest score of the test, which is 50, and get predicate. In addition, the mean score of the test is 74.55. Then they find the level of the student score of achievement test. The score were categorized based on the following assessment classification. As you can see on the table, based on the table, the researcher concluded that the student English ability based on the result of English test or the mean score, it is categorized as the good level. The finding of the correlation between student preference and their English achievement in hybrid learning. The researcher utilized person, product, moment coefficient to analyze both of the data to find whether there was many or any significant correlation or not between student preference and their English achievement in hybrid learning. The result from the computation is revealed in the table. The result concluded that there is a strong correlation between student preference on their English achievement in hybrid learning. In addition, the regression analysis was applying to estimate the influence percentage of student preference in hybrid learning that influence to their English achievement. The result of the regression analysis is presented in the following table. Finally revealed the most of the student preference to learn English through hybrid learning. It was identified for the mean score of each item where it's in high category and it has a significant relationship to their result of the student achievement test since the mean score was categorized in good level. Now the study concluded that hybrid learning was more applicable in learning English for university students COVID-19 pandemic, and the researcher assumed that the student preference in hybrid learning could influence their English achievement. Now, a researcher conducted concluded that the student preference to learn English through hybrid learning, and there was significant effect to their speaking achievement during the pandemic. Now, they stated that there was the possibility of student experience in hybrid learning could influence their speaking ability due to the using two modes method, namely online and offline learning. Now, it can be a solution for educator and learners to continue teaching and learning activities in the future, especially amid the pandemic era. In other words, hybrid learning can enhance in the learning quality, especially amid COVID-19 pandemic, and it also matched the demand of learning in industrial revolution era 4.0. So the conclusion of this review journal is that the study investigated the correlation between university student preference and their English achievement in hybrid learning. In addition, there was a strong correlation between student preference in hybrid learning and their English achievement during COVID-19 pandemic. It is recommended for the next researcher to explore further studies related to the field since there are still limited studies discussed about hybrid learning in new normal contexts. Alright, I think that's all for my presentation. I'm very sorry if there are any mispronunciation in my video and the presentation that I bring is not that good. I'm very sorry and thank you very much for your kind intention to watch my video. Wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.